Picked up another pair of whites. These are a 350 Cruiser, but they're actually the hand sewn stitch down style. You can see with the kind of that little, I don't know, you could call it like a little lip of leather, sort of like a welt, I guess. These are a collaboration with Huckberry. You can see their logo, but what this is it's a 350 Cruiser, like I said, hand sewn, but there's a few differences. One, if you look at White's site, at least I think Baker's or some of the custom orders you can do this, but on the White's website, I don't believe you can get Red Dog in the 350 Cruiser. This is Red Dog leather, and you definitely can't get Red Dog Roughout. I think they just have like a distressed brown or something. They do have a Roughout, just not Red Dog. And then this actually kind of interesting is the way they did these. They don't have the gusseted tongue. It only goes down to, I think, the eyelet. Yeah, it's about right between the eyelets, switching to the hooks. That's kind of weird. But honestly, it just makes it easier to put it on. My other 350 Cruiser, that is not, it's just a standard stitch down. It's not the hand sewn or whatever. It has the gusseted tongue all the way to the top, and it's just a little bit harder to put them on. It's not hard to put them on, but having the non-gusseted makes it easier. I don't know. I guess it's like give and take. The gusseted is gonna keep dirt and water out if you got like splashed or something. These aren't really, you know, boots you'd go into the serious rain with, in my opinion. But the non-gusseted, you know, like it's like a normal boot or shoe. It's just easier to put on. I bought these used on eBay off a guy who only, I don't know, he said he wore them like, I think he said 5 to 7 times, something like that, but like basically new. I looked at the soles and they really didn't have any wear. There was like, you could tell like he walked outside maybe once or something because there were some things on it, but I wiped it with a wet paper towel and the soles literally looked unworn. So it's almost like he just like stepped off of carpet briefly or something. So virtually unworn. Pretty significant discount. These are a little bit outrageously priced, MSRP. Sort of like White's normal prices. I think they're $6.75 or something kind of insane. Too much in my opinion. But I was able to get these on eBay, like I said, barely used for I think I did a $4.75 offer, best offer, and he accepted it. So that was kind of nice, getting them for under $500. And he even the previous owner bought these from White's. These are Red Dog kilties. So what's weird is with this Huckberry, you don't get any kiltie at all. So all they give you in the box is 2 different sets of laces. That's it. So you get the rawhide, and then there's a yellow. I'll pull them out of the box here in a second, and then there's kind of that yellow, I don't know, hiking boot style nylon or probably cotton lace. Oh, you know what? I guess there's actually 3 sets of laces. So my 350 Cruisers came with these cotton, the dark ones right here, which these haven't even been put on the shoes at all. I think this is how they come wrapped up from White's. And then they came with the rawhide, but this Huckberry pair also has these. I don't know what this, I assume it's cotton or something. They're like my mind, like a hiking boot, though. Then again, I think my Red Wing Iron Rangers, maybe all my, and my 875s came with a similar lace. So I don't know what you call these. Maybe Timberlands come with them. But yeah, that's all you get in the box. So these kilties, as I said, were not included. So this is an additional cost that, you know, I further justified this purchase because it's on top of the already outrageous cost. So I feel like I got these at a pretty significant discount. I'll try them, well, not try them on, I'll put them on while I tell you guys a little more about them. So something that was a little bit strange with these was the fit. So I have, like I said, you've seen the video, I already have a 350 Cruiser, the normal stitch down version, and it fit great. I mean, it was a, you know, I guess a typical, a little snug. Out of the box, I wear them with a thinner sock generally, but I'm able to kind of go up to this type of sock, which is still thinner, but like more of a little more substantial. And they, you know, as they broke in, there's definitely more room. These, however, actually usually I wear these with the, like a thinner sock, those Timberland socks I was talking about that I got at Costco in my other videos. They're, I don't know, I want to say they're like the thickness of a dress sock, but a little more substantial. Versus these socks that I'm wearing today are more like the thickness of like a white athletic sock. So I don't actually wear these usually with these, but they still fit. But they were really tight when I first got them, to the point that I was concerned. I was like, man, these, for being the same size, you know, these are also an 11D. I'm like, why are they so tight when the other pair fits better? And the only difference I can tell is this is an unstructured toe. It's a soft toe. My other 350 Cruiser is structured. I assume it's elastic, but I'm not sure. I forget if White's. I don't remember if they tell you, but like Nick's, you know, you can get a little more specific where they'd say it's this elastic toe. Sorry about the sinusy sounds. Drank maybe a little bit more whiskey last night than I should have. So, a little bit rough. A little rough today. But I was concerned about the size, and I ended up throwing my boot stretcher in. So I have it's a shoe, I don't know, I guess it's a boot stretcher. It's just for a flatter boot. It's not like shaped for these higher arch lasts, but it works because really it's just the front piece. Like by side conversation, I've noticed I can't put any of my shoe trees in 55 or 11067 last boots because the arch basically it just doesn't fit and it jams. You can't get the heel part in. But a boot stretcher is just the front part. Kind of looks like a shoe tree that it expands open. And I used it, as I mentioned, on my my Nick's Overlander, mainly because of this toe. There was like this part of my toe, baby toe, is kind of getting kind of smashed, and it helped with that. And both of these were pretty tight, and I ran it, I think, 2 evenings per boot, if I recall correctly. So like I would put in the boot stretcher when I kind of took them off at the end of the day. Well, I let them kind of air out a little bit in case there's any sweat in them, and then, you know, before I went to bed, I basically threw in the boot stretcher. I only have, you know, one boot stretcher. It's not side specific, so I threw it in one boot, tightened it up. Didn't use any little metal things, just the main wood part, and stretched one boot, and then the next. I don't know if maybe I did it during the daytime on another boot, but basically ran like two 12-hour stretches, so maybe like 24 hours per boot. And now they're great. They're, you know, I don't know, hypothetically they might be slightly more snug than the 350 Cruisers, but it's not like painful at all. And if I wear those Timberland, you know, thinner socks, they're super comfortable. I mean, even with these, they're comfortable. I don't feel, maybe there's a little bit of snugness here, but there's nothing. The toes are all good. No crushing at all. Same 430 Vibram sole on these, in case you're curious. I think they actually say that on the Huckberry site. Finishing on these is pretty good, not perfect. The issue I do see is they kind of, in my opinion, went a little too close to the edge there with the sander. So that outer stitch down is going to be possibly a challenge at the time I get these resold, whenever that is. It's like really close, but at least like if you look at the toes, unlike my other pair from White's, they didn't overlap the stitching, so they did a better job in that regard. And then, you know, it's rough out, so it's gonna, you know, you see all little marks, but at the same time, they kind of don't look terrible, and you can kind of wipe them away. So you could see some little scuffs and stuff, and then you just kind of brush it, almost like a suede, and get the nap to go back, and it's good. You can kind of start to see there's a little bit of toe creases going on, which is kind of cool. I wasn't sure what I would think. Let me see show you the backs. One of them has more nappiness on the back. I'm trying to remember which one it is. On the inner side, but whatever. You can't really tell. Finishing is pretty typical whites. You know, there's some space on the heel stack and where the rubber of the top lift, but it's fine. They're heavy, they're rugged, they're good. They're cool. They do say whites like the other ones. It's harder to see because of the rough out, but it does say whites right there. And I think they look dope with the previous owner putting these red dog kilties and then not doing the rough outside for the contrast. Kind of, I don't know, I think I was saying on a Reddit post, they look Western, and some guy, or I don't know, yeah, they must have been Reddit. And the guy's like, no, man, they don't look Western, they look Pacific Northwestern. I'm like, okay. But I still kind of feel like the kiltie has sort of some Western vibe. A little something. I know it's not a cowboy boot, but I'm digging. I'm gonna have to trim the laces at some point. I like to like fully break in and get to the point that I know they're good before I trim the lace, because they're overly long. I was actually wrapping it around the top, and you can actually see the oil in these laces kind of darken the rough out, but I don't really like that look. I was doing it just to get you can see it really here. I was doing it to just take up the slack, but I think I'm going to trim them now. They're broken in, they're good. I did the same on my 350 Cruisers and my Nix Prospector. The Prospector did the same thing, where I was wrapping them around the shaft a little bit, and because they're natural Dublin, some of that oil or whatever oils from the laces got into the Dublin and kind of darkened, made like a darkened ring too. It's kind of annoying, but you can't see it anyway. So yeah, these are the 350 Cruiser Rough Out Red Dog from, it's a collaboration between Huckberry and Whites. If you get them for a deal, I think they're worth it. I couldn't stomach the full retail price, that's ridiculous. But the Red Dog is pretty dope. Curious to see how these look after a few years. I have really old Iron Ranger Moleskinner, Hawthorne Moleskinner Rough Out, and it really got matted down, the rough out. It's kind of like hard almost now. It's not this nappy smoothness, so I'd be curious to see how these look after a lot of years. And I still think I prefer the structured toe, but the unstructured is kind of interesting with the whole toe roll. You can kind of see this one's really starting up. See if I can get that in focus. You can really see the lights and darks where the toe rolls. Yeah. Do a couple close-ups of the boots. But that's about it. See you guys in the next one. Later.